So boom, Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani came into this thing loud, bold, and full of promises, like a man who just learned what socialism is, and decided to throw the whole playbook at New York City like it was free sample day at Costco. But I digress, and I'm talking free buses, free childcare, rent freezes, and the most controversial of all, taxing the rich. And let's keep it a buck. He really meant rich white people the way he said it. And he ran like the second coming of AOC, as we know her as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Now, and I'm sure you guys know her because she had been serving since 2019 as the U.S. representative for New York's 14th congressional district, and she's a member of the Democratic Party. Of course, I'm sure you guys know that, right? So now, I say all that to say the man actually got the job. Now that he's clocked in, laced the boots up, well, he's transitioning over because he won't be in office as the mayor officially until January 2026 of the new year. But now that it's about to be time to govern, suddenly the math ain't mathing. The governor ain't vibing. And if you guys don't know who the governor is, she is on the screen, but she go as basically highly known as Governor Kathy Hochul. She is the current and sitting governor of New York, right? Obviously, we know that the governor is over the mayor. And when it comes to legislation, you have to go through the governor because the governor is the one that actually can make these things take place when implementing taxes and so forth. Um, and usually, for the best interests of that state, and in this case, New York City, you will want the mayor and the governor to be working hand to hand together. Now, the governor, right, ain't vibing. And in reality, is tapping him on the shoulders around Mudami. Like, hey, player, who gonna pay for all this? Because here's the part most folks outside of New York City don't get. Zoran Mudami ain't the top dog in this situation. He's the mayor, sure, but the governor, as you see on the screen, Kathy Hochul, she's the one holding the purse strings for half the stuff he wants to do. And it's like when your little brother promises you all his friends a sleepover and pizza, but he forgot to ask your moms. And your mom's just like, who gonna clean this up? Who buying the pizza? And that's exactly what happened here with Governor Kathy Hochul. Check it out.
It is, as he has described it, a Democratic socialist agenda. Free childcare, free buses, rent freeze. The list goes on. I talked to him on Monday night. He said to me he hasn't wavered 1 millimeter on raising taxes on New York City's wealthiest residents to pay for some of that. Now, Governor, you have said repeatedly that you would not raise taxes. You said, quote, I've said there's no new income taxes. Do you stand by that promise?
Yes. Again, what I find so fascinating is all this conversation about how I'm continuing to lead New York State. I'm the one putting money back in people's pockets and cutting middle-class taxes, as I've done, and finding ways to support child care. These are areas where I'm aligned with Zoran Mamdani, and we'll work on it.
And there you have it. Governor Hochul, who literally endorsed dude during his campaign, turned around as soon as he won and was like, yeah, we're not raising taxes. Period. Not on the rich, not on the almost rich, not on nobody. Now, mind you, raising taxes on the wealthy was one of his core talking points. And that was one of the main ways he said he was going to fund all this free stuff. So now it's like, wait, how are you going to pay for all this stuff if the state boss just told you no? Like for real. You ever seen someone at the club pop bottles and flash cash all night and then the car get declined when it's time to pay? That's Zoran Mamdani right now. And what's wild is he knew this wasn't going to fly. He knew Hochul wasn't with none of that tax talk, and he still sold it to the people anyway. And as you can see, people are saying basically they are at a crossroads between Governor Kathy Hochul and Zoran Mamdani. Check this out.
One of Mayor-elect Mamdani's biggest campaign promises may have already hit the skids. New York Governor Hochul saying that she is not on board with these free city buses, the idea from Mamdani. Since they fall under her jurisdiction, the incoming mayor may already find himself at a crossroads on the issue. Eyewitness News reporter Lucy Yang with this story.
Cecile James is a lifelong New Yorker who would love free buses, but she's also realistic.
It would be nice if it happened, but this is a big city, and We need the revenue for the city.
3/4 of New Yorkers support making buses free.
Free buses were a cornerstone of Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani's campaign, but on this cold night outside the Grant houses on 125th Street, the MTA made it quite clear fares are still required. The same message from Governor Kathy Hochul, who endorsed Mamdani but put the brakes on his big promise.
I cannot set forth a plan right now that takes money out of a system that relies on the fares of the buses and the subways.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy tweeted today, quote, "Nothing in life is free. Remember this the next time you support a socialist." While critics scoff, Mamdani is moving ahead with his administration and is standing behind his promise.
These are not just slogans. These are commitments, and I look forward to delivering on them.
I would like there to be free buses. I don't know exactly how you would budget that, but I think it would always be nicer.
Of course, rides are already free for fare beaters, but everyone else will have to keep paying for now. In Harlem, Lucy Yang, Channel 7.
I mean, we all would like a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? But the reality is the reality of it. And that's why socialism never worked, right? And the thing is, my concern, if free buses was able to be implemented, wouldn't you have like free homeless shelters on buses? Because people that are homeless, especially now that the wintertime is coming and we know New York City to be very cold, that is going to make it more prone. And wouldn't the safety of individuals that are riding a bus every day, if the free bus incentive was implemented, there would be a lot of danger because homeless people would just be on the bus all day, staying warm, and then seeing it as a free homeless shelter. That would be my concern. On top of it is enabling behavior, right? Because everybody wants free, but at the end of the day, you get what you pay for, because a lot of times what comes with free is entitlement. And these individuals that voted majority for Zoran Mamdani were individuals who don't pay everyday bills or have real life responsibilities, like college kids, right? Trying to figure it out. And not to discredit them, because we're all trying to figure out life, and that's a lifelong thing. But the reality is, if you realize real life responsibility and actually pay bills, you would know that nothing comes free. You get what you pay for, but also that's the beauty of you working hard, because then you have the opportunity to work for what you get. And at the end of the day, it's like the hustle, right? You get out what you put in. The hard work you put in will result in regards of the benefit that you get and the luxuries that you have based on how hard you work. But if you give somebody free and they feel entitled, then it's enabling behavior, because now they feel as though it takes away from them making their own self-inflicted wounds from their own failures that they make, and they could just blame their failures on others but still be entitled to free. And that's another concern of mine. But let me know what you guys think about that down in the comments below. So yeah, basically this free bus thing ain't happening, right? And when you look at this thing, because he knew Hokll wasn't with none of that tax talk, and he still sold it to the people anyway. And I'm not saying politicians don't do this all the time, and they do, but we got to stop acting surprised when they pull the bait and switch like it's a magic trick instead of a political playbook. And let's really lock in on this free bus situation, because this one got people hot. A lot of New Yorkers were hyped, like free transportation, bet, we lit. But Governor Hochul, like I said, came out like, y'all must not know how the MTA works. You know what I'm saying? See that $2.90 bus fare, that adds up to about $700 million a year in revenue, and somebody got to pay that tab. And Hokll said flat out, we not pulling that money out of the MTA, which is the transportation company in New York. If you want to know the name of it, MTA basically means the Metropolitan Transportation Authority. But you guys get my gist. And she's like, look, without a plan to replace it, we not just pulling that money out of MTA. And that's like if you told your landlord you ain't paying the rent this month and your plans is just vibes. It's not going to work. And the city tried this on a small scale. They made 5 bus routes free using $15 million in extra funds. Cool. But now you're talking about scaling that to the whole city. That's like trying to turn a lemonade stand into a national chain with no investors, no capital, no plan, except I got faith. You know what I'm saying? Faith don't pay bills, my guy. Not in politics, not in transit. So now Zoran Mamdani's whole vibe shifted, because the man who was calling Trump every name in the book, standing 10 toes down against everything conservative, suddenly out here talking about calling Donald Trump for help. Yes, I said calling Donald Trump for help, family. Do you guys believe that? Oh, you don't believe me. But before I get to this video here, I want you guys to see, I want to refresh you guys' mind of him calling out Trump when he did realize that he won the election to become mayor for New York City. Because this was Zoran Mamdani's message when it came to Trump, okay? And here we go. So now I'm going to show you guys. Check it out, check it out, check it out, check it out.
Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up. We will hold bad landlords to account because the Donald Trumps of our city have grown far too comfortable taking advantage of their tenants.
Yeah. So you seen that, you heard that, right? So now I want to show you Zoran Mamdani because his attitude switched. Now he's going to talk about the free bus thing, and like I said, he knew that Governor Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, wasn't with all this tax talk, but his attitude seems to change, and actually he seems more humbled and calmer. So he's going to talk about the free bus stuff and lead into saying, yeah, he's going to call Donald Trump, as he should, though.
This one, I remember Dean speaking about the importance of changing a culture of no within OMB to a culture of how. And that kind of a vision of possibility is key to delivering on our campaign.
Because you brought this subject up, let's just talk about what Governor Hochul said very recently about buses. It sounded like it was a bit new, that she was saying it's not a good time to take revenue out of the MTA. Now, my understanding of your plan is that the city would subsidize the revenue, but she has other reasons why she doesn't sound too keen on the bus situation. Should she have said that before people voted based on that issue? Is that a shift? Or have you always known that she felt that way? And also, is there a workaround?
Well, I think the governor and I share a belief that in making buses free, we have to replace the revenue for the MTA. We cannot simply demand that they do so without covering the amount of money they would raise from fares. And that's a cost of about $700 million a year. And I continue to be excited about the work of making the slowest buses in America fast and free, and of sharing the governor's interest in delivering on an affordability agenda.
But do you need to get past whatever her objection is to it at this point that she just stated in the last couple of days?
I see the concern being that we don't mimic what we saw under the previous administration in Albany, where what we would find time and again is the MTA was told, make this happen no matter what the cost is. And what we want to do is what we did when we made 5 bus routes free in New York City. We found $15 million, gave it to the MTA, covered the revenue they would have made from fares, and ensured that they could still be whole.
Is that the solution in your view? Is there a workaround to Governor Hokll's? Yeah, sorry.
We're going to approach this as there's always a way to get to yes, that there's going to be a way, and we're going to work with the governor and her staff, and we're going to have conversations to get there. Whatever the barriers are, whether it's financial, whether it's operational, there's a way to figure that out, and that's how we're approaching this. And we have the time. I know it's a constrained period of time, but we have the time to have serious conversations with the governor and her staff.
Governor Hochul also mentioned recently that you and she have had conversations about how to possibly prevent issues with ICE, National Guard troops being sent to our city. How might you prevent it? And is there a conversation about possibly your reaching out to the federal government in advance to try to start that conversation? Or are you going to wait to hear from them?
No, I will be proactive in the work that I do, and I think that is because of the responsibility I hold to 8.5 million people of being their mayor. It is important that you are open to working with anyone, no matter what disagreements you may have. And I've said this when it pertains to President Trump, that President Trump wants to speak about lowering the cost of living or delivering cheaper groceries like he ran on, I'm there to have that conversation. The distinction will be that previous administrations have looked to have that conversation to the benefit of themselves and the expense of the people that we look to serve.
Understood, but do you plan to call President Trump?
I will be reaching out to the White House and as we prepare to actually take office, because
Wait, what? I'm gonna rewind that.
and the expense of the people that we look to serve.
Understood, but do you plan to call President Trump?
I will be reaching out to the White House and as we prepare to actually take office, because this is a relationship that will be critical to the success of the
So
city.
it wasn't just a hypothetical scenario on our debate stage.
No.
You're actually going to call him. What will you say?
Well, I'll say that I'm here to work for the benefit of everyone that calls the city home, and that wherever there is a possibility for working together towards that end, I'm ready. And if it's to the expense of those New Yorkers, I will fight it.
Speaking of
Oh, so he is gonna call, and he made Donald Trump to look like, you see on the screen, right? He was acting like Trump was Voldemort, right? And for those who don't know who Voldemort is, basically Tom Riddle, known as Lord Voldemort, murdered his father and grandparents in the Riddle house using the killer curse. Grew up in an orphanage, unaware of his magical abilities until he was discovered by Albus Dumbledore, who revealed his wizarding heritage and sent, to Hogwarts. Harry Potter thing. But you guys get what I'm thinking. He made it like Donald Trump was the evil of the evil. You know what I'm saying? Like Voldemort. And now he talking about, well, if the president wants to help with groceries and affordability, I'm open to that conversation. Oh, so now you open to conversations. Bro, that's wild. You ever had beef with somebody all year and then suddenly they're the only one who could hook you up with a job? So now it's like, let's put this past behind us. That's exactly what this is. And honestly, it's smart. I'm gonna give him credit where it's due. It's smart because the game of politics is not about feelings. It's about function. And you don't have to like someone to work with them, especially if your job is to deliver results for the people. And honestly, Stephen A. Smith said the exact thing months ago, and folks came for his neck, right? When he talked about Jasmine Crockett, right? Because all Stephen A. Smith was saying was this, right? On Jasmine Crockett, stop being ghetto because she doesn't come from a ghetto background, but actually work on the behalf of her constituents. Check this out.
Jasmine Crockett chooses to express herself. I'm like, is that going to help your district in Texas? Aren't you there to find a way to get stuff done as opposed to just being an impediment to what Trump wants? How much work goes into that? I'm just going to go off about Trump, cuss him out every chance I get, say the most derogatory, incendiary things imaginable, and that's my day's work. That ain't work. Work is saying that's the man in power. I know what his agenda is. I'm not exactly in a position to stop him since the Republicans have the Senate and the House. But maybe if I'm willing to work with this man, I might get something out of it for my constituency. Because like Joe Manchin said, he's there to represent, or was there for 15 years to represent, the people of West Virginia. She's supposed to be there to represent the people of Texas.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe that just sounds ignorant because it's so simple.
It is so simple. Only you make it complex if you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Because we all know that Trump is a quid pro quo guy. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. And everybody doesn't 100% agree with everybody, or agree with each other, so to say. So Zoran Mamdani, at least he is better in regards of, being a better role model to work with the president instead of against the president. But it's sort of hypocritical because he had basically made a whole victory speech of talking down and saying he wouldn't talk to the president and coming at the president, right? So it's funny, but I'm gonna give him credit because at least he done better than what Jasmine Crockett said. But when Stephen A. Smith, like I said these exact things, he was like, y'all might not like Trump, but y'all better figure out how to work with him if he gets back in office, because your community still got needs. And that's what Stephen A. Smith is saying on the screen that I just played. And folks acted like he committed blasphemy. But now look, even the socialist mayor-elect, Zoran Mamdani, out here talking about reaching out. Because the truth is, you can't fix stuff from your high horse. You got to get down, shake hands, play the game, and get what your city needs. If not, you just another dude talking spicy in debates with no results to show. And look, this whole thing shows you how the game is played. Politicians be out here running like they Jesus with a to-do list or a savior, knowing damn well they gonna walk back half that stuff as soon as they got sworn in. And that's why you got to pay attention, not to just what they say, but how they plan to do it. That's why I pay attention to policy. Maybe I'm just spoiled because, look, I don't agree with everything Donald Trump does. You know what I'm saying? I don't agree with it. But at the end of the day, I guess I'm spoiled because Donald Trump going to come out and say what it is and how it's going to be done as a businessman. I guess that's why you need someone in office that runs the government like a business to negotiate on the better half of Americans' lobby in the best interest. But look, do they get votes? Do they get allies? Can they write a check for that dream they selling you? Because most of the time, no. And that's what we're seeing with Zoran Mamdani. They're giving you the PowerPoint presentation, but they don't got the spreadsheet with the numbers. They tell you, we're going to fix everything. And you're like, cool. And I'm like, cool, but how? Where's the money coming from? If you ever want to know how things are being done, follow the money. It always comes down to the money. So yes, Zoran Mamdani out here moving like every other politician. Say what you need to say to get the votes, get in the seat, then hit people with the remix. But at least he's doing one right thing. He's willing to talk to whoever he needs to talk to in order to get the job done. And that's grown man politics. That's mayor energy. Because if the feds hold the keys and you need a key to open the city budget, guess what? You better call somebody who can make it happen. And if that person's name is Trump, pick up the phone. You ain't got to kiss the ring, but you darn sure better dial that number if your city's on the line. Anyway, y'all let me know what you think in the comments below. Is this smart politics or a sellout move? Did he lie to get elected or just fumble the rollout? And should more Democrats swallow their pride and work with Trump to get stuff done? Or does that cross the line for y'all? Either way, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with somebody who still believes politicians keep their promises. And let me know. They lied, fam. Look, Zoran Mamdani, you lied, bro. You know, and I know a lot of people say a lot of politicians lie. But at the end of the day, family, I catch you in the next one. I love you guys. I appreciate all you guys' support. And for those who watch this video, and I appreciate you for rocking with me, catch you in the next one. Peace.